in Hermanus where I am. And the lights ought to go on any moment. So this is the moment that every South African is waiting for. You will see happening live tonight. We will have power.
Awesome.
Neen?
I believe in that for you. You will indeed have power.
Okay, so Mofota, who is joining us for this beautiful webinar tonight, is having a bit of trouble. It seems
Okay.
that the link is forcing her to download Zoho, so she will be here shortly.
Okay,
And if
that's
you don't
totally
mind,
fine.
I'm just telling her that we're waiting for her.
Yeah, we can wait for a couple minutes. In the meantime, we have our attendees joining. So, anyways, we can give people a couple minutes to join. I'm really excited to have you here, Jennifer. I'm honestly praying that your lights will come on even during this webinar or shortly after. Um,
No, yes, it'll be during the webinar, so then you will hear a
it's
collective
gonna turn
sigh.
on and
Yes,
awesome.
hopefully, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm really excited for
But
this one. It's gonna be a non-traditional webinar. Usually we talk about something that's really tactical and less story, more best practices. And today it's gonna be more stories and less know-how and how to. So hopefully some of this will pull on your heartstrings and inspire you to do more, take action, change your world, change someone else's world. So that's why we're here. Thank you for being with us. We have two amazing speakers, Jennifer and Mofota, who are dear friends, experts, subject matter experts, and you're both in South Africa, I believe, right?
well, actually, Mofota is in Lesotho, and Lesotho is
Okay.
a landlocked country on its own in the middle of South Africa, and it's
Wow.
also the place with the heaviest snow in Southern Africa. So Mofota had to, I believe she is in the audience now, Neen. She
Okay.
joined via phone. She had to go down and specifically buy airtime to be here tonight. And we sat this afternoon and we quickly did a
Wow.
sound check.
Awesome. So,
And yeah, so we're hoping she's here now.
yes, I see. I don't see her name, but I see two Valencias. So maybe she just joined as one of the Valencias. There's multiple Valencias. Uh,
Oh dear, oh dear. Mufota
so
says she joined via phone. And can you see me in the audience?
Do you know what username or what her
Mufota?
name is? Yes. In the because I do not see Mofota. There's three Valencias, uh, and then there's others. I see Claire. Hi Claire, thanks for joining. I see
Tonight is a
Ramin and Joel. And,
technical disadvantage from South Africa and not Lesotho because she actually has power. Lesotho does not have load shedding.
oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure that okay. So she it sounds like she raised her hand. Let's see. That is her. Hi, Mofota. Is that you? All right. There you go. We got you. Welcome. You may be
But
muted.
you're
Yeah.
on mute at the moment. Okay.
So it says
Still
Zoho
on mute?
webinars. There's gotta be a unmute button right next to the video button
Microphone.
on the. You know what? I've never used the phone version, so it probably is. Let me see. We're doing some webinar training and instructions right now. Let me see. It's it should be here like this. So were you able to and on the phone oh, this is the whole meet the whole webinar.
Hello, Mofota.
There should be like one of these buttons. Okay, now you're unmuted. So you probably need to select in one of the settings for the mic.
There we go. I've got the
All
settings.
right.
I've
Hooray!
clicked on the mic. Hold on.
Woohoo!
Hold on.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
All right. We're holding on.
Oh, that's
Can you
fantastic.
hear me?
Across the continents.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we
We
can.
can hear you
Hello.
and we can see you.
I'm finally in.
Yay!
Thank you.
Welcome. Woohoo! Now the party can really get started. Thank you, Mofota, for
Let's
joining.
get this party started,
All right,
everybody.
and I know through all the technical and power difficulties, we still persevere, make it happen. And to our attendees, we're really excited. I'm really excited for this webinar and hearing some amazing, impactful stories that hopefully will touch you in one way or the other, and that you'll be able to share with others. I want to welcome Mofota again, and Jennifer. Thanks for being with me. Jennifer, would you be able to share your slides so that we can kick off the webinar and we'll go
I
from
am
there?
doing my best, but it's not seeming to allow me to share the Google Slides at the
All right,
moment.
so I'll probably share the slides.
Yes, you can do that.
Can you see it?
No, we just see, now we do. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so the fourth slide, I think we should skip Mofota because we're not able to play that beautiful piece of music in the background. So we'll just skip over slide number 4 when the
Gotcha.
time
Okay.
comes.
I may be able to. Let's try. If it works, great. If it doesn't,
Background
we can
tunes.
do the next one. But everybody, welcome to our Breaking Barriers and Reshaping Cultures webinar. We have Mofota and Jennifer as our amazing speakers, very esteemed speakers. Really excited to bring this to you. And thanks for sticking around today. Our mission and for all of us, not just for our company, is to get 1 million underrepresented people and self-taught people better access to opportunities, no matter where they are, and enable trust globally. For SnapBrillia, we are a simple project-based hiring platform with opportunities for anyone who's underrepresented and self-taught, any professional out there to build their economic reputation, own their career, and own their future. We have Jennifer from Pinion Search and many in the audience as well. Thank you for joining us. Jennifer, you want to introduce Pinion Search?
Well, yes, I sat for a long time with this almost haiku, so I'm just going to read it because I think it's perfect. So with cutting edge skills, we find congruence and we're proud of our connectedness and our community. This means the right people the first time.
Awesome. Well said. And
Thanks, Ning.
we've got the ice cube. Let's see if it works. Okay. All
We
right.
can
We're gonna
try.
be sharing about ice cube today. Let me see. Can
I
you
hope
hear the
it's
video?
yeah.
The sound?
No, sadly not.
Okay. So
Can we maybe try it from my Spotify? Do you think it'll work? I've got it. I happen to have it here and open. Can we try?
Yes, you can. Let's
Can you
try.
hear that?
Jennifer, you know what I was thinking? That was actually for when people were joining the meeting room. It's absolutely fine if we skip that video.
Okay. Well, I'll include
Yeah.
the
Okay.
video in the chat. People can check it out. But it's the Ice Cube. It was a good day.
Right.
All right. So moving on, we have beautiful, amazing Mofota with us. She's an HR professional for many, many years, over many decades. And Mofota, thank you for being with us. And Jennifer, thank you for introducing Mofota with some amazing content. Do you want to tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Jennifer or me, I know there was a bio slide, and first of all, I'm sorry for the technical glitches and for being late. And also just for having, I don't know, the view that I see on my side is I'm almost like slanted, but I hope my entire face is there and that the audio is okay. I guess yes. Nin, you made me sound like a fossil. You're like, she's been in HR for decades.
Only the experience. Only the
I
experience.
get, you know what? Let me just take it because I am a mom of a 15-year-old. My son is 15, going on 21. On 21. I love HR. As HR found me. My career, I started in investment banking at Investec. For those in South Africa, you would know what that is. I transitioned into HR after a sabbatical, and I literally didn't know what to do with my career. And a friend of mine said, "Come, I've got something to do for you to do. All you need to do is take candidates out for coffee." And I said, "That cannot be a job." And she's like, "Literally, you just take candidates out for coffee and ask them what they want out of their careers." That was it. And I spoke to newly qualified CAs. I played netball with them. We helped them find, proper jobs in investment banking. I've been in the finance, industry for a while. I then transitioned into entertainment and media industry, into the entertainment and media industry, which was really lovely because I think I scheme, I'm a bit of a creative. And then I bounced into the fast moving consumer goods industry. And in my latest role, I was actually heading up HR for a fintech company. So it's been a very interesting time. I'm a blogger as well. So my blog is constantly, if I have downtime, I'm putting out my thoughts there. I've been published by the largest HR society in the world. I've spoken at HR conferences as well. So I'm truly excited. Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Snaprilia. Thank you, Nin. Thank you, everybody who's here, for coming to listen to this story that I have to tell.
Wow. Thank you so much for being with us, and having such a varied background coming from banking, meeting candidates for coffee. That's quite the journey and quite the job. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure. Actually, I was doing that when I first started to learn about recruiting, just to learn about what makes people tick and why they would consider switching jobs and just having a conversation. That's the best way to do it. And
That's it.
then we have our Jennifer. Jennifer, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself? You've been with us for 3 webinars already. I think a lot of the audience, but we have new members and new people in the audience today.
Thank you, Nin, so much. Yes, so I have a very strong research background with mentorships in forensic research, academic research, and then putting it all together into corporate research. About 11 years ago, I had a mentorship with a headhunter, actually, and that's how I got introduced into the world of recruitment. And executive search, really. So in my day-to-day life, like Claire, my managing partner, says, I'm like Alice. I like to tumble down holes and to go see where the world takes me. So not only do I get to meet some of the most exciting venture capital investors in the world, starting some of the best new exciting techs in every single field imaginable, but I also get to meet the people who make it happen, the people on the ground. And in that way, I believe that we're all making a difference into the economies of the world. And that, in a nutshell, is my passion. That's why I'm here, to inspire people.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for being here. You've already inspired many, the webinar series that we've been doing. And today, yet again, I'm excited for today's webinar. So I'm going to step down and let the two of you have fun. When you want to go to the next slide, just let me know and
Okay,
make sure.
shall I touch my nose?
You can do that. I will watch you like a hawk. And if that doesn't work, maybe touch your ears or something. All
Clap
right.
my hands.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay. I'll watch you both.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Here we go.
Okay, fantastic. I am so glad that we've got this moment in time together, Mofota. And actually, we already spoke about this subject a couple of months ago when I came to you and I said that I've got this wonderful opportunity with SnapRelia to do our little bit to change the world, right?
Yeah. Changing one heart at a time. I remember what you said about, the purpose of the SnapRelia webinars. You said, even if we touch one person's life, our job is done. So I love that. I hope we make a bigger impact. Very excited to be here, Jennifer.
Thank you again for your time. So you have the most interesting subject and you put a lot of thought into the subject, and it is Ice Cube's unstoppable journey. I'm going to hand over to you and allow you to speak. And maybe in between we can have a couple of comments. And at the end, if there are any questions, we will answer it. Thank you so much, Neen.
Right.
Thanks, Jennifer. So when you briefed me and said, let's inspire people, let's inspire African American people, let's inspire resilience, let's, see how people can just, find the tenacity to just work through whatever it is that they need to work through in life. I thought, okay, I could talk about my career, but culturally, I think I was sharing this with you that it's not very easy as a Sotho child to just start talking about yourself. It almost seems like you're pompous and stuff. And I thought, who can I talk about who inspires me? And Ice Cube came across because I've actually met him, right? And I was at maybe what also inspired this topic is I was actually at the Big Three basketball game in Chicago a few weeks ago when we were talking about this. And I was like, let me just talk about this guy because he's done so much. So, first bullet point, really a proper genesis of expression, right? Born in South Central LA, and haven't gone through what most African American and Black boys go through with the racism and systemic barriers that are in place. He really, I guess, decided instead of like feeling sorry for myself, let me use my voice to, talk about some of the challenges that are in the hood, some of the challenges that are in the areas that they live in. Very similar to a South Africa where there's been some oppression and there continues to be systemic racism that and things that get in the way of Black people trying to connect and thrive in life. So Ice Cube's journey is just really like inspirational for me because he started as an MC. He started as a rapper. He started in music groups as a teenager. He has 10 studio albums. He has about 16 or 12 movie soundtracks. He has 6 compilation albums, and that's not it. From there, he transitioned into being an actor. So he had big roles in, culture shaping movies like Boys in the Hood, Friday, there's, the barbershops. He's got like an entire library of, movies that he's done, not only from acting, he also went into producing some of these movies. So really telling stories. And I like what he says about, all the movies that were being shown in LA or in the US at the time were really just about how difficult and how horrible it is. And he said, I'm going to do Friday and show that we're still able to laugh at ourselves. And there's still some really good things happening in the hood. So similarly to, I can also say in Lesotho, we have situations where, Yes, it's a third world country. Yes, we have difficult times. We grapple to find resources to do certain things. But, there are some really good stories about being here. Just today I'm sitting in front of a fireplace and I'm really excited to be home. So it's really about how do you make the best of your situation? And this guy really has done it for as far as I'm concerned. So over and above, the creative side, he's then transitioned into being like a super entrepreneur, and he actually owns the first African American basketball league, which is called the Big Three. So just looking at his vision and his cultural impact, he's comes out of groups like NWA, West Side Connection. He owns a record label called Cube Vision. He's empowered not just himself, but I see this in him as well, is always bringing others along the journey with him and empowering and creating a platform for other artists and other creators wherever they may be in the world. So it's really just such a catastrophic I think impact that he's had on the world, if you think about the fact that he can inspire a girl who's sitting, or not a girl anymore, but someone sitting in Lesotho. So that's what I thought. I thought, okay, I've blogged about this, so we can share the link to the piece. I think a lot of people would know who Ice Cube is, but what it really was, Jennifer, for me, was some of the microaggressions, some of the internalized racism topics that we talked about what are the actual barriers that Black people or non-white people go through in the workplace, in social circles, in society itself, and how do you actually overcome that? I think that's what we were trying to kind of get to say, how can we get people to lift themselves up, or even try? I mean, we're not super heroes, right? But what can we talk about that can inspire people to actually see that it is actually possible for them as well?
Absolutely agree. I think one of the most empowering things one person can do for another person is to assist them in seeing their own light shine. I so often find when I'm speaking to one of these scarce skill, highly academic people, that they don't see the value in what they bring. And also, I see the small entrepreneur with a wonderful idea who don't understand the value that they, just by virtue of existing, can bring to the world. And I think it is very important that we are frank about these discussions. In South Africa, for instance, we had the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, which allowed us to discuss things like institutionalized racism and so on and so forth. You were telling me a story of a friend of yours a couple of years ago who went to work for a large investment firm, or one of the big fives, and they actually asked him to anglicize his name. Isn't that correct? Don't you want to share that story? Without naming any names, of
Of
course.
course. Of course. Yeah. So, yes, we did talk about that. And I love that you touched on the Truth and Reconciliation Commission as well, because a lot of African Americans think that South Africa has almost, is one step ahead in terms of transformation and really getting to a place of healing, right? And they think it's because of initiatives like that, where people have an opportunity to air their views. Even the perpetrators, you get people who are there saying, I was racist, but I understand why it's wrong. Whereas in America, people feel like they're still oppressed in very many ways and they have to show up a certain way. And that certain way is, the whole concept of internalized racism that we were talking about, where people actually start getting, thinking that white is better than Black, right? Because what do you see on the front page of magazines as a little kid? All your teachers are white, all your doctors are white, anything that's excellence has a white body in it, right? And anything that is almost inferior, you get your janitors and trash can pickers being Black people. So a friend of mine was in the US, and she, her husband is actually African. They met in New York, beautiful love story, and they started working there. And to his shock, let's say his name was Tabo, right? And what he was asked in the interview is, they said to him, look, we really like your profile. We like your experience. We think you've got the right skills for this role. However, we're going to struggle a bit with your name. Can you call yourself T, you know? And okay, let me make myself an example. Let's say my name is Mofota. People battle with my name a lot. So it's now saying, can you call yourself Mo in the workplace? Can you imagine? Now I have to shorten my name just so that other people don't have to make an effort to learn how to pronounce it. So he agreed to the shortened version, I guess, because my friends call me Mo anyways. I don't necessarily see why it would be a big issue. He was then asked to say, look, your surname is also a little bit complicated. Can you not adopt your wife's surname, which is an English
Richardson.
name? Yeah, like imagine now I become Mo Richardson and I'm a man, and the emasculation and just the thought process of why is my name not being accepted? I'm applying for a job. You're saying to me I've got the right skills. You've interviewed me. It's been a grueling experience and process. Now we're getting to, offer management, and we need to talk about how much are you paying me? What are the, where's the contract? And now the issue that you have is my African name. Just very shocking. Needless to say, he left America. He doesn't work or live there anymore. He's back in Africa, and they go back and forth.
But now let's get back to Ask You, because when we speak to, and I have to again apologize for the quality of my video. We have a power outage large scale here called load shedding, and I am hoping to get a little bit of light back, but in the meantime, I am here. Let's talk a little bit about what Ice Cube had to overcome. He grew up and was raised in a tough neighborhood, right? And I think if you've Googled South Africa, you will definitely see in stark contrast with the cities that are tech heavy and tourist heavy, you will see that there are large areas of almost ghetto landscapes. And in these landscapes, children are born and children are raised, and they listen to rap. And the rap is giving them a message, not only in America, but all over the world. You said that he inspired you in Lesotho, in the mountain kingdom of snow. How did this happen? What did he do to inspire you with his life? Well, except all the stuff that he did, of course, but to you personally?
So music for me, I think growing up in Lesotho, we always had the radio playing in the kitchen. So there would always be a Bob Marley song playing, and the Bob Marley song would probably be talking about one love. And just listening to what one love means and everybody coming together, irrespective of their differences, would be inspiring. In terms of Ice Cube, I think there's a lot of, I probably listen to all his music, but it doesn't inspire me the way that Bob Marley inspires me. It's the hardness in the lyrics, and the get up and go and do it yourself. So there are a lot of tracks that, apart from Today Was a Good Day, I think Ice Cube's library is absolutely untouched, right? But he really talks about resilience and saying, be a go-getter. If the system rejects you, find a different way. So it's that hustle mentality, that go and do what you need to do and don't feel sorry for yourself. So I think one of the songs I'm talking about is called Until We Get Rich. And essentially that talks about your dreams are valid, your goals are valid. You need to push yourself to get there. And really nobody ever has it easy. So that's what inspires me. And also, I think when I look at his career and I look at the likes or other creatives, right? What you see in the education system, or back in our days when we went to school, and I'm aging myself, there wasn't necessarily a lot of academic programs that actually helped right-brained or creative children. Everything was about left-brained. You had to pass science, you had to pass maths, and you had to pass English, you had to pass another language. So there were certain subjects that are built into the education system. So for kids who are creative and arty and, right-brained, it was really difficult just to really pass or find a way to just get earn a living in the world. So that's what inspires me, just the fact that one can push their own music, evolve again into becoming a movie actor, evolve into becoming a producer. Over and above that, you are not just feeling sorry for yourself, and now you actually still, I mean, he's still also a social activist, but also now owning a basketball league. That for me is like, he's just unstoppable, right? Like our title says,
Absolutely.
he's just really unstoppable. Yeah.
Yes, and he is a great vision of the American dream, really, if you want to look at it that way, overcoming great adversity from birth, from before birth, because he was born into a diverse household.
Yeah.
You have a starting point that makes it so much harder to become successful. And I think that's the message that we want to send out into the world, is that even if you are born in a place where that isn't ideal, there is certainly hope, and there's people out there and there's technology out there that is designed to help you step up, right? Like Snaprilia, for instance, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You remind me of one of his tracks, which is called "My Skin Is My Sin," when you say he actually was born into hardship, right? So if you listen to that track, which says "My skin is my sin," skin is talking about just by virtue of being black, I have these
Mm.
challenges. And these are some of the things that we worry about, especially as mothers of black boys, because if you look at what's happening in America, it looks as though the police force itself and that police brutality, if you look at how George Floyd was killed with a knee on his neck, suffocated on video. And
Mm.
you just start to wonder, like, are black boys even meant to survive? So that in itself is very powerful. So it's really, I think it's great that Snaprilia is doing webinars to showcase talent and people and tell stories of people who have absolutely gone through the same thing but have somehow managed to overcome. I see your power is not back,
Absolutely.
Jennifer.
No, it's not. And I feel a little bit like a vampire, this light. I promise I'm not a vampire. But you
You're
know
good.
what? It
Trust me, you're good.
actually inspired me to write a rap tonight, but I have to find it in the darkness.
Wait, what inspired you? The load shedding or
No, the
the
whole
webinar?
conversation that you and I had inspired me. So if you guys don't mind, I'm going to switch on my flashlight and I'm
Go
going
for
to
it.
read you. I'm not going to rap because I don't know how to rap, but I know that it means rhythm and poetry. So I've got rhythm and poetry. Now, excuse me for looking down. So I wrote, the pain of standing in a welfare line is like getting hit by a train again and again. And when they only notice your face, they are a fluffing disgrace, trying to raise up buttercup, but I never saw one yet. And those who fail at diversity will fail at life, don't you see? That is my rap. What do you think about that? I'm
Wow.
getting happy. Thank you.
Is that your rap? It's
That's
so
my rap.
good. It's so good. Okay, you hit me at the welfare line, because I thought, remember, welfare is not just for black people, it's also, you
Mm,
do find white people, Indian people, colored people, and different kinds of people. Like we were talking about, everybody has issues, right? That you might not know of. So it's not just about racism as a social construct. But I love the outro, your punchline is heavy there, where you talk about, if you don't have diversity, you're essentially shooting yourself in the foot. And that's 100% correct. I think we were talking about this earlier. We did so much of this conversation earlier, Jennifer, when talking about artificial intelligence. And I said, I'll be very keen to follow Neen on his next, I think it's his next webinar, talking about artificial intelligence, because sometimes we get so excited with technology and all the things that are coming across, which is great, because look at us. Here we are. We're sitting in different parts of the world and we're able to connect. However, there are shadows, right? Because in artificial intelligence, I used a testing platform which was asking questions to candidates around, things that weren't not culturally appropriate, but culturally relevant to them. So, for instance, if you're asking me a question about a beach, I grew up in Lesotho. There are no beaches, like you said, Jennifer. We're landlocked by South Africa. So sometimes the people who are building these systems and the artificial intelligence, they work with what they know, their worldviews, and their own mental models. So it's not necessarily a representation of everybody else. And diversity is, a different range of people, sex, gender, religion, sexual orientation, whatever it may be. So when we design solutions, it's so important for us to have diverse people and different people who come with different ideas. I think a friend of mine calls it neurodiversity as well, because what we're also not doing these days is we're not accommodating people living with disabilities. We almost create solutions for them without having them at the drafting table to say, these are our views and these are our experiences and these are our challenges. So I'm with you on diversity. I think diversity is a given anyways, right? But probably inclusion is probably the biggest issue. And I don't want to quote Vernee Myers and say diversity is being invited to the dance and inclusion is being asked to dance. But that's really is what it is. And it's what a lot of people in corporate South Africa and corporate America are struggling with is, you can get the job, you can be Black, and other people can be different colors and things like that. But sometimes the world is so designed to cater for a certain type of person. And even in that artificial intelligence, it may be you almost siloed or designed to understand people who grew up in California, right? Or in San Francisco, talking about beaches and things like that, that other people will feel like they're not, or they've been left out. So yeah, that's what I got out of your poem. It inspired that.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for your beautiful conversation. I want to add to that. Mofota had a beautiful way to speak about the diversities of the world. We all know and have a favorite stew, but not everyone makes the same stew, and not everyone likes the same stew. And that is the beauty of diversity, isn't it?
That's the beauty of diversity. I think what I was saying is, sometimes people take it for granted that just because I'm Black and I know other Black people in the workplace, that we will definitely be able to do things the same way. So I can sit with my tribal Sotho people and start talking about how to cook a stew, and we might understand why it's done that way because that's how it's done in our culture, right? But when I speak to a Zulu woman who's Black, or a Sotho or a Tswana woman, and things like that, it'll be different for them. They'll say, look, we weren't taught how to make it that way. And that's what diversity is. It's saying, let's then have a look at how other people cook their stew. And what you said about the pot of stew was amazing, is that we all make it differently, but it doesn't mean the stew won't be delicious. Is that what you said?
Yes, and it also means just some people just won't like your stew. Don't
And
take
if they
it
don't like your stew,
personally.
that's okay. That's okay.
There's other stew. But really, to bring us to a point, I see that we are at 22 and we've got 5 minutes left of our conversation before any questions and answers. I wanted to just go back again to Ice Cube's unstoppable journey and mention again how amazing it is that somebody could take everything that life throws at them and use those to build steps to the top. And that would be my advice to anyone who is sitting in a situation where they have to rethink their life and or where they feel stuck in a position, is when people throw stuff at you, use that to make your steps to the top. That is what resilience means. And Ice Cube is a wonderful example of that.
Absolutely. I think, Jennifer, you couldn't have said it better, because I was having this conversation with a coach, and we were talking about how people's different bodies are built, Some people will shoot up and become basketball players. Some people become muscular. We actually talk about weightlifters, right? And how fit they are. And of course, it's what they eat. Sometimes it's their genetic disposition. They were just born to have that kind of muscle in their bodies. But what we both appreciated was the amount of effort that and mindset that a person has when they want to achieve something. So when a person is really hell bent on doing something, when you have a purpose and you really enjoy something, it's about going for it. And it may sound easy for us to just come here and say, look, here's Ice Cube's career and just do it, set your mind right and stuff. But I think what we picked up also in that conversation was manifestation also has a lot to do with the things that you put in your mind and the things that you say. So one of the things that we were talking about is, as opposed to gossiping, find a group of people where you can start looking for solutions to problems, because that's generally how entrepreneurial ideas come around, right? And sometimes people, and I think this is in Africa, and Ice Cube may then be the guy who worked for himself, because if you look at the unemployment queue in South Africa, it's 35.5% as per Stats SA, but I honestly believe it's probably higher than 50%, right? And what we don't have in young people and in other people who are not working is we just don't have that. All of us don't have that entrepreneurial thing where we can just find it within ourselves to create and find our natural talents and use them to create something really awesome for ourselves.
Absolutely. I think it's a misnomer that you think that only somebody who's good at science and math can make a good business person or an entrepreneur. I think that if you hustle with what you have, then you will become a success. I absolutely believe that we should be thinking about what is success for the individual. If your grandmother had a specific sauce that she made especially well, go and make that sauce and sell it on street corners, because you know what, success doesn't mean the Mercedes Benz in the driveway, it doesn't mean the mansion in the hills. What it means is I can pay my bills, I can pay my house, I can pay my car, and I can educate my children. That is what it means to be successful, in my opinion. If you want to shoot for the stars, everyone needs to shoot for the stars, because one out of those 50 companies will become a success. How do you know you're going to be a success if you don't try? And you have to keep on trying. That is the message that I want to give you, is that there are many opportunities in your own life for entrepreneurship and for starting a business. And there are many opportunities to educate yourself. And when you start working with perseverance, the people with the money will notice you. So don't even worry about the money in the beginning. Just do it, like a brand says. I'm not going to mention which one.
Love that. Love that. I know which brand.
Oh,
Awesome.
goodness. Yeah, so if Nene is there, I think we have reached the Q&A session, and I can see that I'm still in darkness. So we'll have to do it with me in darkness, Nene.
Mm.
Mofota,
Jennifer,
well,
you
I think this is definitely one of your points of strength. So I'm going to leave the stage for you there.
thanks, Jennifer. And I think we did touch on this. We talked about having different people, representation of people when designing solutions. So if I think about NIN, artificial intelligence, at the recruitment stage where you're actually just attracting talent into the organization, systems sometimes kick out people before they can even apply for the roles. You mentioned it. Sometimes they're looking for these what are those university called, the really bougie and expensive. So HBCUs are at a disadvantage because they don't necessarily have as much funding as the Harvards and the Cornells of the world, right? So what you will find in tech people is the differences between somebody from an HBCU and a difference between somebody from a university in Lesotho and somebody who comes from I think they're not called premium universities, but they're private universities, private institutions, which are have way more resources than others. So what talent really is, I think, is not necessarily how much privilege you have in the back, in your life, and how you came up through the education systems. I think the applicant tracking systems themselves need to start asking questions that are inclusive and understand diverse backgrounds. So for instance, the tracking system will kick you out if you don't have 4 out of 5 of the requirements. So what can be done from a tech side? What can companies do from a tech side to ensure that even people from previously disadvantaged backgrounds or marginalized people can come into a fair space in the recruitment zone, into interviews, into challenging and being competitive against other candidates? Is they can start looking at, from a recruitment perspective, what are the questions that we're putting in the applicant tracking systems? Are they bombing other people out and giving others an advantage over others? And then when we get to the workplace, just really in the talent management space, I think that there's a lot of work to be done, because we talked about internalized racism. We talked about how people have to kind of wear a mask to be at work. There's a lot of effort that needs to be, taken by companies to ensure that people who work there actually feel like they belong. I'm not just there to get a paycheck. And things like representation really matters, right? Because when I see an African American woman or a Black woman at the top at an executive level, I feel like I can also make it, right? So there needs to be, what the world looks like. It also needs to be represented at different at executive level. There also needs to be allyship. I think we can, as Black people, talk a lot about these are the barriers, these are the challenges, this is all the things that are happening to us, and sometimes it sounds like we're whining all the time. But I found that through an allyship program that I had with a company that I contracted for, I was able to share, not necessarily in a huge social zone, but one-on-one with the person who was my ally, to say, these are my personal issues, and this is what I think can create a better workplace for me. And they had a seat at the table, and they became almost like a sponsor for me. And that actually helped to put my agenda on the table, and some of the changes that I was asking for were actually affected. So allyship is also very strong, because we have to understand that for African people, African American Black people, to did you lose me? Because I see I'm reconnecting. Okay, cool. So I think for non for the marginalized community, it's like very important to have our voice heard, but also for us to understand that we can get white allies. Not every single white person and not every single non-black person is actually racist. And some people are really, working hard to ensure that companies are thriving, because at the end of the day, you just can't be hiring, people and they're not happy and they keep on leaving. That costs companies a lot of money. So that's my bit, and what I think could work.
And from my side, of course, I believe that one of the easiest way to get more diversity into your AI is to train your AI with people who come from a diverse background. So that person, I think I've spoken to Nina about one of many people that I know who come, for instance, from Zimbabwe, where the school system has entirely collapsed. And this person has a knack for computers. So I said to this person, go to Free Code Camp and teach yourself how to program, and then do an intern or apply for an internship like that. So getting people, for instance, to train your AI, somebody from, I don't know, the DRC, Rwanda, Ghana, some of our tribes here in South Africa that we've mentioned before, culturally diverse, neurobiologically diverse, and disabled people. Everyone should have a seat at the table when it comes to AI and the future of the workforce.
Yeah.
They primarily come from first world countries. That's where AI started many years ago at researching deep learning. But now with the online courses, Coursera, Udemy, and all of that, that knowledge can be available to anybody to pick up. And just like in Ice Cube's story, right, perseverance, great, and just applying your talents, not giving up when you face challenges, depression, and discrimination, whatever it is, right? We all have challenges. Some of us have more challenges than others. And breaking into tech is quite challenging for everybody, right? Unless you come from a place where the family is very networking. But for most of us, right, there are opportunities to learn. There's also opportunities to gain mentorship. Not that many, right? So my advice would be really dig down to the job seekers, to to hunt those down. They're out there. Apply. Job application is just a numbers game. They like you. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they ask weird questions during interviews. Sometimes they're really nice. Again, it may work out, may not. But it's not. Don't take it personally. Right? Keep going. Don't give up. Something that you're really, really passionate about, whether it's tech or design or marketing, AI, and you want to be part of building AI that's more effective, right? There are companies and leaders out there. One of my co-founders, our technical, is Beatrice. Is originally from Haiti. She has gone through all of these challenges. But at the end of the day, building a product, people don't really care that Beatrice from Haiti. They care about does the product work or solving my real pain point. And so I believe anyone can do work. And it's more about what's in the content, heart, and your mind. And regardless of an emerging country or country, or how you're born, right? I've worked with some amazing people on the team. I have 3 minutes left. A lot of amazing discussion. I'm very grateful for time. Thank you for joining us. It's a very, very deeply connected to the core of what we do. There's good people in the world. Also, people that believe different things differently, and that's okay. But I think having the discussion and and discourse to share our views, our worldviews, our experience that it has, and um, sharing and sharing and processing what we share as a food for thought, right? And sometimes food for art. So you take this journey, Ice Cube, so far of people in South Africa, mentees that really and create more opportunity out there. It can be done. Um, Ourselves, all of us are hence an example that I've had amazing mentors in my life that have helped me from some tough places in life as well. And those people are out there. Find your own tribe. But um, you be connect with anybody out there that wants to get in touch with you for additional questions.
Yes.
Hey, so
Absolutely.
I'm sharing second for that you have volunteered. Okay. So for Jennifer, we have phone number, email, LinkedIn, website. For Mofota, we have a LinkedIn, perhaps email. I mean, Mofota has a website and her blog, amazing blog. She writes about many topics. They're right on their LinkedIn, right underneath the line or the check it out, and please get in touch. For us at a company, just scan our QR code. There's a bunch of stuff. I have links to our previous webinars as well as webinar once it gets uploaded as a recording. It will be posted there and any future webinars. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you,
Jennifer,
everyone.
for that, thank you for your time and sharing your
Until next
stories.
time.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
That was really fun.